out, dust ya.
She is Dooney, so shake your booty. Coming up with this, she's gonna be quiet. Gonna stop you and cause havoc. She is Dooney, she's fucking groovy. From the forest to your screen, gonna make you what she's looking clean. Such a beauty. Looking for action, looking for less. Shrinks you down if you let the crevasse. She is Dooney. She's here to boogie. With a big old gang, she could do no wrong. You bet your wrist, this is her theme song.
Alright, give it give it one moment. Alright, here we go. I get here right as the theme song. Yeah, I'm sorry, num-nums. I'm sorry. I was incredibly late, so I kind of just like made the intro go by fast. I do apologize for that. Also sorry for being late. I had to take care of stuff like behind the scenes. But hey, I decided to stream. Thank God, because this one was probably the thing I was most excited for this week. Also, it's been a while since I just had a just chatting stream, so how are you guys doing? Stuff happens, yeah. But at least I still stream. Also, Azri. You know what you did. Don't think I didn't notice the sudden increase from 401 to 501. I'm in Heavensward in FF14. I really want to get to Heavensward in 14. But man, Post Around Reborn is such a slog. It is such a slog. Like, things keep happening, and I'm just like, this is supposed to be post-game, right? Why is there so much content? I'm other hands prepping for Stormblood, gotcha. Post ARR is terrible bad. Such a big jump in the bar. I wonder who did that. Yeah, I wonder who did that. I wonder, could it be a certain, mask-wearing wolf? In all seriousness, though, Ashley, thank you so much. Like, your support is much appreciated. Just please don't break your bank supporting me. I wouldn't want you to live on the streets because of me. I mean, I wouldn't mind adopting a puppy, but you know. I'm sure this is old news by now, but oh my god, Game Bro. Yeah, they covered It's on the Mouse for like a while. They haven't really gone back to it since I think that they're busy just like with other games. I'm hoping they ended up are currently just recording another batch. If not, then, like, it's fine. Like, it is what it is. Yeah, I think they're just doing other stuff and they're just, like, recording, the episodes and just, like, batch. Let's hope, because I would so love for me to be in a Game Grumps episode. The only thing that was mentioned was just, like, Aaron just, like, being excited over Fairy, which was really nice. It was really nice. But yeah, I'm hoping just, like, in the future, we can't, we'll get at least 2 more, It's on the Mouse episodes. I kind of forgot about it, not gonna lie. That is fair. I mean, I kind of, like, moved on. I mean, like, of course, like, I still support It's on the Mouse, and, you know, but speaking of It's on the Mouse, hold on. Speaking of It's on the Mouse, I believe it's still 60% off of Steam right now, so if you want to, like, go support the developer at a very cheap cost, like, go do that, please. Your support for the developer means the world. Not only just to me, but to everyone who worked on this game. Oh, wink, wink, plug, plug. Yeah. What do I want to talk about? Yeah, but yeah, with my, hold on, let's see, do I have it on here? Let's see. If I don't, I'll go ahead and show it. Okay, yeah. So we're about, like, halfway, like, more than halfway to our goal at this point. Like, just 200 more, and then, like, you guys get to see the head, which is, which is, like, really exciting. I didn't expect it for this to get this close. Like, So we just need 200 more, and then we'll I can reveal uh everything to you guys. I see the pink. You do see the pink highlight a little bit, yeah, just a little bit, just like the very tip of it. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah. I am holding a subathon on the 18th, so just, if you want to hold off, I'm feeling a lot more confident about, getting to the requirements for, this on, once we get to the 18th, because we're literally just $200 away. So, hi, Trixie. How's my favorite rabbit sister doing? Hi, Twilight. Hope you're doing well. Yeah. Hey, everyone, I'm doing good. That's good. I am happy to hear that. Alright. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about before we get to the main event? Can't really think of, really what to do. So I guess I'll go ahead and get into it. So I... So you don't want to date a fairy, huh? Well, that's rude. Yeah, so, me and Trixie, we came across this, video from this guy that we both watch. It's, it's basically a series of just, you wouldn't want to date insert monster girl here. So, they've done an episode on Lamias, they've done an episode on Slime Girls, and stuff like that. And, we were kind of waiting for them to just, do something for You Wouldn't Want to Date a Fairy. And then we finally noticed that, hey, they did do that. And, I have already watched it with Trixie, so it won't be, a blind reaction. But I wouldn't mind watching it again, only because just clearly hear what the guy's saying and not be in a call with, 7 other people. No offense. No offense to those people. They're wonderful people. And also, you guys get my commentary, and I figured it would make really good content. So I decided, you know what? Let's judge this person. Let's see it just whether or not you wouldn't want to date a fairy. I know that feeling. Yeah, it's not on them. It's really not on them, honestly. In hindsight, I probably should have been hey, Trixie, can we go into another VC? But hindsight is 2020. Yeah. And I'm not gonna be the type of person to just with other people in the call who are just doing their own thing, just being shh, we're watching something. Alright, let me see if I can find it. Let's see. No, it wasn't that long ago I saw it. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, when I used to binge some videos with a friend, we either went to or deafen for a bit. That's also a good alternative to just deafen. I guess the reason I wouldn't want to deafen it is like I want to hear Trixie's commentary. So like, okay, I'm currently getting this set up as we speak. Let's go ahead and transition to the stream overlay. And oh, that's another meme. We don't want another meme. Also, just gonna turn off the Kingdom Hearts music that may or may not mute my VOD, but that's okay. Let's see, that's fine. Oh, no. Wait, hold on. I want to do this. Okay. Okay. So this video is about, like, Gremlin. I just now noticed that. This video is about, like, an hour long, like, so just, like, we might be here for a while. Especially just, like, with my commentary. Why not? The more Doonies, the better. But what if I do want two Doonies? Do you want two Doonies, Azri? Just imagine the possibilities with two Doonies. Especially if they were two big Doonies. Two Doonies, one Azri. None of these thoughts are pure. Why would you have pure thoughts around me, Azri? Oh, God. You hear that, chat? That's the sound of Azri slowly getting broken as we speak. Okay, so, yeah. You wouldn't want to date a fairy. I will probably interject every now and then, just be like, either to, like, throw in just like, oh yeah, like, this is either accurate or, like, or I'm just like, nah, this is bullshit. Now, keep in mind, just like with my own lore, I wasn't really born a fairy, I was turned into a fairy. Broken? I was broken once. Broken? I'm always broken. Nah, I'm not gonna delve into that rabbit hole. Alright. With that said, let's go ahead and get started.
The Minotaur was scary, so I wanted to try to go for something a little easier. Fairies are small, whimsical, they have a lot of good movies, so I figured that they fit the bill. So if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, no, I did not think that interviewing fairies would go this poorly!
Sacrifice the tall one to see her bloodlust.
You guys ever wonder what it would be like to date somebody and get beaten up by somebody who's 10 times smaller than you? I really hope nobody said yes to that. To the newcomers who stumbled in without knowing what they're getting into, welcome to the Yude. This is a club for the culture, gentle sirs and madams, where we talk about women that we can't have. Or in this case, shouldn't have, because fairies are mean. Let's be honest.
I'm
one point
not
or another,
that mean. I am not that mean. Come on. Like, just because, like, I'm a little bit mischievous and I use my fairy dust, to shrink a person or two does not mean that I'm mean. I'm just mischievous. Trust me, once you get to know me, you know I have a really kind heart. Aren't their own type of sacrifice others death cult? Dooney swears a lot when riled, but she's a sweet. Yeah, I'm a sweet. Wait. Excuse you? I don't curse that often. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that.
The train of thought comes by us as to whether or not it's possible to date a noodle stop. Yes, I'm aware that my charger doesn't fit the USB port, but like, the idea of having a tiny wife, if I follow all the rules and remain wholesome about it, and treat her delicately, could I make it work?
Yes.
I wouldn't mind having my own Winx Club harem. I wouldn't mind going out with Romulus. I wouldn't mind having my own...
Fuck.
No, not that. But that was before my research when I found out that fairies are a little darker than they are made out to be. And as far as fiction is concerned, the fairy is tiny. The fairy is sweet. The fairy's our friend. We like fairies. In reality, fairy is actually more or less a blanket term to describe anything that wasn't human. And that can stretch from any...
Mistress, what are we watching? We're watching a video called You Wouldn't Want to Date a Fairy. And as a fairy myself, I figured, you know, why not? Why not just dissect this video for what it is? Oh, so it's fairy slander. Some of it may very well be fairy slander. Some coffee. Do some research, basically. Totally legit research. Totally legit research on a creature that may or may not exist. I mean, I'm right in front of you guys. I'm a fairy, so surely fairies exist, right? Right? I mean, well, granted, when I got turned into a fairy before, I didn't think fairies were real. But then just like, one tea time with a witch later, then suddenly it's just like, oh, alright, I guess it's my life now. Spawn a tiny city. Let's see, do I still have the city? I feel like I should. I hope. Let's see. Yeah, we still have the city. There we go. There's your tiny city. With totally no, just like actual people living in it. Totally not. Yeah, like I would never do that. I would never just like, I would never just like do that. That would be crazy. That would be so crazy. Crazy. I was crazy once. Oh, so I was gonna do a bit. But like I can't seem to find it. Sadly. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's continue.
Thing to leprechauns, to goblins, to, yes, tiny pixies and fey folk, but also...
Okay, I'll bite. What was the bit? So for no particular reason at all, I downloaded a soundbite of like people screaming in a city, and I was gonna play that just like as I was just being all like, like there are totally no tiny people just like living in this really tiny city that I'm in right now, as you just like hear dozens of people screaming. Now, if someone wants to edit that, if someone wants to do an edit of that, I'm not gonna be against that.
Some of the more violent bloodsuckers and human killers. Hence, you would not want to date it. Which,
Wow.
God, it feels vindicating to actually have one of these videos where I say you don't want to date it. I was right. I was right all along.
No, you weren't.
If you want to discover why I'm right, then stick around because I'm going to go over the history in a sec. The way that I usually do these videos is that I start by giving you a history lesson of the monster girl in question. In this case, the fairy folk. Because believe it or not, cartoons and anime are the arbiters of deceit, and the real thing is not as nice as they would let you to believe. But I am aware that will not stop those of stronger will, so after the history lesson, I'm going to give you some tips on what you could do to survive being with a fairy, which, I remind you, they are more of a danger to you than you are to them. After the history lesson and the safety course, we're then going to interview one of their kind about hypotheticals as what would happen if fairies existed in our world, or at least came out of hiding, I guess. It's something I'm hoping to do a little more often on this channel because it's fun to talk to people and also just a job where you get to talk to 2D women. I am living the life. And then we end the video with my personal thoughts as to whether or not I would date the fairy despite everything I now know. But before we begin the information portion, I like to begin these things by saying that I am not a solid researcher and there is some information that I might have gotten wrong.
Okay.
Because the
I
fact
can
of the matter
respect
is,
that.
just about every civilization that civiled had fairies as their lore at one point. For argument's sake, I'm going to try to focus mostly on the European fairies. Maybe one day I can cover fairies that were in the Far East or in the Americas, but we're focusing on Celtic because it's easier and because that's the nature of the fairy that I interviewed. But at the very least, while I might not be a solid researcher, I am passionate about my craft. You can always trust somebody who's passionate about their work to do their best work. So without further ado, let's get into why dating a fairy is a bad idea. As I mentioned before, fairies come from all walks of life.
I don't know, chat. Do you think it would be a bad idea to date me? Like, chat, like... surely you don't believe the words of... Well, actually, I do really like his hair and scarf. It's really cute. But besides the point, are you really going to trust the words of a weeb? Do I need to answer that, Jeannie? No. No, you don't, Ashley. No, you don't. You don't have to answer that. Because I already know your answer.
From all civilizations, and it wouldn't surprise me if they came from all 7 continents. Longtime fans of the channel will know that there are at least 2 origin stories for monster girls, that being the fanfic theory and the realistic theory, which is the one that's rooted in reality and explains why the creature was created in the first place. Because there are so many fanfic origins for fairies, including one that I've already covered on this channel in the form of leprechauns, I'm just going to give you the realistic one. The realistic theory as to why all of these civilizations had fairies as a part of their lore at some point is because fairies were mostly used to describe the odd goings-on in nature that people couldn't describe. Why people were on a never-ending streak of bad luck, why trinkets would seem to disappear out of nowhere, why people would disappear into the woods and never come back out. Fairies were just a way to explain all of that in a macabre, bad luck sort of way. So as you can imagine, people wanted to stay away from fairies because they were seemingly more harm than good. Although it would be a bit of a injustice to say that everybody thought that way. There are some legends where fairies provide good luck. They could get you to talk to animals, they could expand your lifespan, they could give you art and inspiration. But because fairies are synonymous with the unknown and the unexplainable, the general consensus was that you didn't want to mess with them. Yes, they can give you a gold trinket in exchange for some honey and milk, but at the same time they could come back and they can strike your entire village with a case of tuberculosis, so probably not a coin you want to flip. I found that Ireland in particular was very careful about not wanting to flip this coin. opting to stay out of building in places where it's said that fairy folk were supposed to hang out, and even going as far as to not describe fairies as fairies, but to instead call them by the little people, because saying fairies would have been a blasphemous term that was for sure going to get you sick. Ireland's
I love the just like fairy. It's just a slur, just, but not little people. So thanks for the stretch break and hydrate. Because I would think it would be the other way around, just like being called a little person. It wouldn't be wrong, and I'm not. I want to like be that aggressive about it. Well, I mean, I might play it up a little bit, but you know. Just woke up for a moment, wanted to stop by, make sure you're taking care of yourself. I appreciate it. Thank you, little.
approach to fairies will come back later on in history in a funny way, I promise. But universally, what are these fairies and what do they do? Well, as I have come to find, fairies is, as I mentioned before, a blanket term to describe being...
But what about small thing? Yeah, small thing is good. I like small thing because I know the context. Good girl. Night night. Oh my gosh.
Beings that just weren't human. Beings that interfered with the world of man by causing small inconveniences or large inconveniences, depending on how badly you tick them off. But universally, they're always described as something that is little and mischievous and something that nature needs to keep naturing. So despite how annoying they could be, the reason why nobody went out to hunt them was because they were such an integral part of nature that to remove them would be to remove the natural resources that you need to survive. Trees would stop growing, grass would stop greening, and the whole thing just falls apart. So in essence, we have to tolerate... Stop.
Also because fairies are extremely hard to find in the wild. Yeah.
Greening, and the whole thing just falls apart.
Especially when, for me, I'm the only fairy in this forest. Because the rest of them went extinct. So that's fun. So not only did I get turned into a fairy, but just like I don't really see people like me. Not unless I decide to like go to other worlds where fairies exist.
So in essence, we have to tolerate their behavior because we don't have any other choice.
Yay!
Wait, the last roll. Damn you, tiny man!
Just a little side note, as I mentioned before, fairies are a blanket term to describe many magical creatures.
I do feel like... I feel like another, like, easier word, like another just, like, blanket term you can use for, you know, fairies, but not fairies, is just fae. Because, you know, I hear fae used more than just, like, you know, just, like, fairies as a blanket term. Because with fae, it's just, like, okay, like, it's, like, creatures within, like, a fairy realm, but it's not, like, a fairy, or a fae realm. As with fairies, it's just like, oh yeah, they're tiny folk. Gotta go with the fairy flies.
In that sense, things like leprechauns, banshees, and even doulahans to a degree can be considered fairies.
Huh, that's real. I did not realize a banshee and a Dullahan fall into the fae category. That's interesting. Leprechauns, like, I knew. Like, were fae.
But for this case, we're mostly going to be talking about the pixie variety, the small ones.
Okay, real quick, I love this image so much. It is such a cute image. Like, hang on, can I... Like, Hang on, let me see if I can find it real quick. I'm gonna like, let's see, hold on, gonna close that, then. But yeah, that's an image I love dearly with all my heart because like it's such a cute image. Let's see, wings hurt. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find it. I might not be able to find it. Maybe if I put an anime, I might be able to find it. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna be able to find it. So basically, it's like the fairy's wings get hurt, so like the person who found her just like puts a band-aid on it. I believe, or no, it's they offer her like a cookie to have while like they're looking for like medical supplies. It's really really cute, and then they put a band-aid on one of her wings, and she gets really happy and hugs the finger. Because finger hugs are good hugs. Oh my, that Banshee and Dohan though? Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That's what I'm after, and I was trying to aim for that, but didn't realize that fairies was a broader term than I could have imagined. You might be curious to wonder why they are such a tiny size. Well, I haven't been able to find a straight answer, but I do have a theory. My theory in regards to that is that because fairies are known to be mischievous pranksters, it is just easier to believe they can get away with what they do if they were at a tinier size. Because if they were larger size, like the size of a person, and they still did things like make people sick and steal trinkets and make things happen in nature, if that were the case, then the question becomes, how come they're not more obvious? Like, how come we don't see them? That seems like it's something that's hard to miss. Whereas tiny fairy doing all of that, it's just a lot easier to believe that something like that would happen.
Yeah, like I do agree with that. I do think just like you know, as a tiny fairy, you could probably get away with a lot. Ignoring like my power moves, just like or my moveset, just like it would probably just like be really easy to just like steal things or cause some mischief and get away with it since you're so tiny, so you can blend in more. Now, if you get caught, it's gonna really suck for you since you're so small. But um, yeah, it's basically just like kind of like burrowers. The tiny folk that live within your houses, and just like them just like taking stuff. They can get away with it since they're so small. But they're also like, at least in most like burrower like interpretations that I've seen, they're just like, yeah, we can't let humans see us. Mischief, yeah, mischief. And nothing else. That's where my butter knives keep disappearing to. Yeah, like if your stuff is disappearing, it's probably either a fairy or a burrower.
Not to mention reputation for them being little people probably had something to do with it. So all of this in tandem just probably has something to do with giving fairies a reputation for being tiny. One thing that I forgot to mention about their characteristics is that they are also human-shaped, or at least they most often look like us to a degree. So whether you're talking about a leprechaun or a Doulahan or a banshee, they usually look human, or human enough, so you can add that to the list. Universally, they are usually tiny, they look like us, and they are slightly toxic. Just what I look for in a girlfriend.
Slightly toxic. I am not slightly toxic. Right, chat? Oh god, that fucking Kirito shot, yeah? I've never seen... Well, okay, that's not true. I saw a couple episodes of Sword Art Online. Wasn't my thing. Wasn't really my thing at the time. So I kind of just like ignored it. I do know in the second season, I think it's the second season, where they have like a fairy girl. And you know, I've seen some gifs, and it is really, really cute. I don't think it's enough for me to get me to watch the show, but I have seen the gifs of the fairy girl, and it's just like, oh yeah, that is cute. Yeah, it had me in the first half, then it kind of just forgot what I was going for. Yeah. Junie is definitely not toxic. Aw, thank you. Help, I've been captive for 6 years. She won't let me. Shrimp God exists. Hmm? 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 What was that? Did you guys hear that? I don't think... Hmm. Must have just been the wind. I like that video, but I think they use that. I won't say here, but they use it too often for drama. I think I know where to say, like, for drama. Yeah, I have a feeling, you know what? Because I do know bits and pieces of Sword Art Online from what I've seen over the years, or just, like, from fans and whatnot. So, I think I know what you're talking about, and also I think I know the context behind the fairy girl. Because I know who she is, yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
There is also one more characteristic I didn't mention because it might not be true for every fairy across the board, but it is for a majority of them that I found, and that's that fairies do have the power to grant you wishes, but they have to be feasible wishes. So what that means is, for example, say you want a car, right? A fairy can't just manifest a car out of the blue, but what they will do is that they will guide you and put you on a path to get that car, rather than just making one appear outright. So I thought it was kind of cool that fairies can sort of act as a guide that makes you work for your wish rather than giving you the wish outright.
Yeah, I do think that's cool. I don't think... I'm pretty sure I don't think I can grant wishes. Like, you know, not in my fairy form. Obviously, as a genie, that's different, but, you know, that's a genie. Like, as a fairy, though, like, as far as I can tell, I can't really grant wishes. I mean, unless your wish is to be smaller or bigger for a little bit of time, which I can grant that, but I don't think that really counts as actually granting a wish if I have the ability to, just, change your size. Yeah, that's a whole other thing on its own, and I do like wishes. Oh, I only have one wish, but it's a single heart for any magical being to grant. I am now curious, Frost. What would you wish for? Mm-hmm.
It's unique. Of course, a fairy can still give you something if the thing you ask for is feasible and they happen to have it, like gold. If you wish it, a fairy can also do something for you, whether that be performing a dance, or singing you a song, or getting in the mason jar. Get in the jar! That's fairies in regards to their looks and their character.
What plushie do you want to give me? I have, hang on, let me show you the plushies I got. I got Trixie. I got Deku. I got a Deku. I got a Hoshi. I also got plushies of me, both in my bat form and my fairy form. Hold on. Yeah, you have options. See, for everyone to be happy, but again, tall and older, you need some negativity. we're happy all the time, we're not gonna be able to know when something is wrong. I think like if we're going by like fairy wish logic, I think it would just like be more so just like putting you on a path to make people happy. And we're going by that logic, like yes, like you are technically right. Negativity is required. How about fairy plushie since it's a video? Yeah, sure. We can do the fairy plushie. I love how the fairy plushie is now so popular. So I hope you're doing better, Hair. Since I know you were sick recently. Yeah, we'll put you in my head. We'll put you in my head. But yeah, I would say just like putting you on a path to make everyone happy or make people happy as opposed to just like instantly granting it. Now, if it was a genie, then I mean, depending on just like the genie, like they could twist her wish. Was it? I just missed y'all this one. Yeah, I missed you too. We ended up in this like Tour Fable Ultimate group. Like my other one, not the one that I DM for. Like we ended up just like doing like a sort of one shot side story, which was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Also, hi JT, how you doing? Anyway.
If you were to put them on a timeline, you'd start more or less at the beginning of civilization when people looked at them as bad luck and just the mystical gears that get nature working. What I found is that depending on what part of the globe that you visit at the time, fairies could be either nice or worse. For example, if you go to the Americas, in old native traditions, fairies have been known to be more so guides that can help you on a path to achieve a better version of yourself. Whereas if you go to the Far East, say in Japan or Eastern Russia, you have stuff like the, I think they're called the Rasalik, who have been known to call out to lonely men and then drown them in a lake. So yeah, weird thing to think about, that is the farther east you go, the more evil the fairies tend to be, but the far west you go, all the way over to the Americas, the nicer they seem to get. And then right in the middle, you have the European fairies, which covers everything from the UK to France to parts of modern-day Germany. These fairies are sort of a chaotic, neutral blend of beings from all walks of life. The fairies here are put into one of two categories. The Seelie Court, which are the nice fairies, and the Unseelie Court, who are unholy and wicked and malicious. If you have to date a fairy, go for the Seelie Court. So bear this information in mind, because it might save your life. The fairy on the right, trustworthy, nice companion, and a good sense of direction. Fairy on the left, untrustworthy, wicked, unholy. Do not trust. As I mentioned before, fairies were used to explain bad luck and the ongoings-on, usually to explain why disease struck a certain town. But somewhere along the way, by word of mouth, legends began spreading of people who went into the woods and ended up taking fairy wives. But in order to take spreading of people who went into the woods and ended up taking fairy wives.
This is just too cute. I want it.
But in order to take them, there were many rules of engagement that kind of made the whole thing bullshit, but still something that's desirable to few. If I remember, one of the rules was that if you have a fairy wife, you can't watch her bathe, which, you know, yeah, okay, if you want to be a gentleman about it, fine. That's a rule I guess I can live with. But another one of those rules...
So, chat... I don't go by that rule necessarily. Like if I wanted to, you saw me bathe, I would probably get very mischievous and, let's just say have some fun with you, but just like, I don't think I would do anything life-changing. Mostly. If people want, like, certain, like, really close friends could probably watch me bathe. Anyone else, you're gonna have to pay a toll. Well, don't sound disappointed.
Was that if you have a fairy wife, you're not allowed to tell anybody or she will disappear. Which, oh, God, that sucks.
Now, this I have been wondering. It's, you're not allowed to tell anyone you have a fairy wife. Now, no, it's just like, this is how I interpret it. It's just telling them, hey, I'm married to this fairy. Like, it's not like, oh, this fairy exists. Like, that's the way just, like, I interpret it. It's just like... so fairy odd parents rules. Probably somewhere around that. Yeah, like, if I'm interpreting it like, just don't tell them, like, she's your wife, then I think that's a little bit more doable. If it's like, oh, well, if anyone sees her period, she disappears. Which that's also just like, I don't know how, I don't know how to feel about that.
So you're telling me that if I get a fairy wife, we can't cosplay as Tinkerbell and Peter Pan and completely sweep up the Halloween couples costume contest? Ugh, that's so unfair!
It is unfair. It is unfair. Because, yes, you would absolutely sweep the couples contest if you showed up with, like, a Peter Pan and Tinkerbell costume and, you know, Tinkerbell was just, like, actually, like, the size of Tinkerbell. Like, yeah! Like, you can say they exist, just not that you're married or sleep with them. Yeah, like, I think, like, that's the way I interpreted it, is just more so you're not allowed to tell them, like, you're in a relationship, which I think that's far more doable. I think that would just, like, be painful, to say the least, but, you know. Also, why is my thing in the red? Okay, now it's not in the red. God. And fuck OBS. Fuck OBS so hard, because it's just like, what am I doing? Yeah, but that's the way I interpreted that. Also, I'm probably gonna go ahead and be right back. I'm gonna take a quick little break. I mean, you can dress her as a Margaret Carey that can get around the Tinkerbell cosplay. Perhaps. Also, I will be right back. One in the hallway. I just need to figure out how.
Becomes small.
What are you talking about? You were always that size. You were always that small.
Oh.
It's just, you know, you were spoiled by the fact that I was smaller than you, that you forgot just how big you were.
You know, that's fair. That does sound right.
Yeah, it sounds completely right. And I'd never lied to my friend.
Yeah, that checks out.
Shrink gaslighting! Like, let's see. I do think she has a really fun personality. I like her vibe. I'm sorry. It's okay.
I'm sorry, I scared you.
Yeah, what do you want? What do you want?
Oh, I was just gonna say you should play 1,000 Year Door. I played it and it was really fun.
I see. I see.
I'm
I
sorry.
see.
I really scared you. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
I didn't know how to get your attention, so I just poked you.
So sneaking didn't work, so our only option is to kill. Have fun with it. Hey,
Just so
over here. Oh, fuck! I can't.
Okay.
You say breaking Benjamin?
I do.
Oh. Tell them.
I've got this, guys. I've got this.
You can do it. Wait, what happened? Wait.
I misunderstood. I misunderstood how the game worked. We should have practiced first. I
Oh
remember
my
the
god.
game. That's the one you have to. I thought.
Oh my
No!
god.
No!
I misunderstood the game. I misunderstood the game. I thought the one that she held up on the sign was the one you were supposed to stand on.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I thought the rest of them disappeared.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Hello? Hello, I'm right here.
I'm just imagining you just waving your arm in front of her.
Oh my god, no, we're not going. My god, dude. God.
Look at him! Look at his little toes! Look at his little toesies! Look at him! You love me.
Just be glad you.
I did not kill them all. I most definitely did not kill them all. Shadow, you asshole. I'm just gonna hang around here for a while. That was so stupid. I'm back. All right, let's continue.
World do we live in where I can't go to my friends and parade around my pocket wife? As Christianity became the dominant religion in Europe, fairies actually found themselves to be partly Christianized. That's something I found kind of
Really?
weird because during this time when a lot of creatures that were seen as pagan were being removed for being pagan, fairies were sort of accepted. My guess was that it's because fairies were seen as such an integral part of the natural world that they still didn't want to piss them off, even if they did follow Christianity. So they were instead brought into the religion. But
That's really interesting. That's really interesting because it's just like oh, demons, witches, all those. Nah, you guys stay the hell out. But fairies, no, we don't fuck with those creatures. We don't screw with those creatures. They can come in. They can come in. So good to know. Just like if for whatever reason I decide to go to a church, like a Christian church, and like there are demons or witches in line, and the pastor's like, just like, no, you can't go in. Sorry, you're against our religion. And then I show up, and they're just like, oh fuck, that's a fairy. You can go in. And I'm just like, wait, why did she go in? You don't fuck with the fairy. You don't screw with the fairy. I'm back with some popcorn. Hey, popcorn.
The way that they were brought in was that they were said to have been fallen angels, or angels that were shut out of heaven. Not to the same degree as Satan, but in this case, fairies were, I think they were too late to go back, so when the gate shut, they weren't allowed to pass through, so they instead decided to stay in the world of humans and work nature, if that makes sense. The point is, where other mythical beings and monsters were sort of being thrown at the wayside, fairies sort of got a pass. You could actually say that the legend of fairies and little people actually got more embellished as they were featured in fictional works like that of Shakespeare, and in stories that were made by the Brothers Grimm that became dubbed as fairy tales. One of their most popular stories being about a fairy godmother that comes down to a raggedy girl with an evil stepmother and evil stepsisters, gives her a pumpkin carriage, a new ball gown, and some glass slippers, and sends her off to the ball.
Hey, it's me from post-production. I did a little research after the fact and needed to correct myself here. The original Cinderella story was made by a man named Charles Perrault. He's the one who coined the fairy godmother and the pumpkin carriage and the glass slippers. The Brothers Grimm actually wouldn't write their version of Cinderella until 100 years later, and their version is dubbed the German version, where it is a lot more violent, involving the stepsisters cutting their heels to try to fit into the slipper and having their eyes plucked out by crows. So, yeah, just wanted to clear that one up.
Things really start to pop off in the Victorian period, where London starts to industrialize.
Hi, Prince Hans. How are you doing?
Which leads to some interesting changes in the realm of fairies. For one, a story starts to spread and is widely accepted that fairies could be the unbaptized children who unfortunately passed away at an early age or were stillborn, which could explain why fairies are so mischievous and very childlike and whimsical in nature.
That weirdly reminds me, this is gonna be a weird side tangent. I remember the first Tinkerbell movie, right? I've only seen one of them. I haven't seen the rest of them. I just watched one. I remember liking it. I remember thinking it was a cute movie. But just one of the things they say, just like in that movie, is that a fairy is born from, I think it was like a born child's laugh, or a child's first laugh, is one of those. It was one of those. And I don't know, just I remember thinking that was really interesting. And a friend of mine was just like, okay, but what if the child doesn't laugh? Is that fairy just not born? Huh, neat. Yes, the wonderful world of fairy tales. Specifically, Brothers Grimm fairy tales, yes. Brothers Grimm fairy tales is just like, okay, what if we just like made like the darkest possible scenario we can do?
Certainly sends some people to go out into the wilderness to find and study fairies, only for them to come back with research material that they picked up on the natural world. One of the articles I read said that a couple of these researchers went to find fairy tools and ended up finding stuff that they thought were used by fairies, but instead were used by ancient folk that lived in the area beforehand. I have definitely covered this before. But the idea of people going into a field of study, not because it's botany or not because it's anthropology, but because it's fairy-coded botany or fairy-coded anthropology, it's just... life's about the presentation. If you slap a
I do kind of like that as well. Just like, okay, so why did you go into research, you know? Like, did you want to just, like, discover, like, some new plant life, new animals? Like, no, I just wanted to go see if I could find some fairies. I have to wonder, just like, when they just like accidentally discover other things, were they just like, and they get like praised for them, are they just like, damn it, I still can't find those fairies though. I still can't find those fairies. My life won't be complete until I find this fairy, and then they never do. It's just like... It's funny though, just like accidentally discovering something else when it's not within your field of research.
girl onto something, you'll convince people to do anything. We have been doing it since antiquity, and we are still doing it now. That is just... it never gets old. At around the same time, this also causes some separation between the Irish and the English, who, as you can imagine, London and many of those cities start to industrialize, whereas the more rural places in Ireland steer clear from that. Some articles suggesting because it's the Irish that don't want to disturb the faithful.
They probably ate some mushrooms, hallucination, made some tiny looking tools, and then woke up, saw the notes in the tiny tools, and they thought they found evidence of them. Very odd parents. Could turn out like Crocker. Gosh. Also, that is possible. That I feel like that could have happened. Hans, but just like it's also just like them just like accidentally discovering other other forms of life by accident, thinking it is like a fairy tool and whatnot. Or signs of a fairy.
Whereas the English, they could care less. To take it a step further, people in Ireland would look to their old beliefs on fae folk among other traditions, and they would use it as a sort of national pride to rally people behind the idea of the independence movement. So all of a sudden, politicians in Ireland would start seeing fairies and would talk about having seen fairies in their youth. Let me reiterate that so we're all clear. There was a time when politicians unapologetically and unironically used fairies to put them in positions of power. Alright, in their defense...
Okay, so I think this should be stated. I am not responsible for anyone getting into power. I just want to make... Oh, god damn it. OBS. Okay, there we go. I'm not responsible for just, like, anyone going into those, like, into power. I wanna make that clear. Might as well go full fade for this Wonderland. Ooh, that's an outfit I've not seen in a very long time. Good choice, good choice. Also, I'll probably be wearing this outfit a lot during October, so keep a lookout for that. There's some unholy words I'm fine to hold back. Yeah, I'm not responsible for getting anyone into positions of power. I just want to know, let that be known. You know, I got turned into a fairy like a few years ago. I think it's a few years ago. When you're a fairy, you kind of lose track of time. Um, let's see. What do you get when you crossbreed a genie and fairy? You'd probably get something similar to Dooney, especially with Dooney's genie. A genie fairy. I mean, I've seen a genie fairy be done before, but a genie fairy is pretty cute. I caught that, and there's so many unholy words I'm fine to hold back. I got to draw one. You got. Oh, I got to draw Wonderland Dooney one day. Sure. If you need me to send you a reference to it, like, I can, like, easily give you that reference. Oh, don't worry, I know you're not responsible for this, Dooney. Otherwise, how are we still here? True.
There was cultural significance to it. But thinking about it in hindsight, it's just so absurd. And then we get to the modern era, which, as is the case with many a monster girl, the way that they are viewed in TV or in movies or in fiction translates to how society views them. It is my personal opinion that Disney is the final nail in the coffin that got people to think of fairies as pixies.
Yeah. I mean, I don't consider myself a pixie, but yeah, like, I would believe that Tinkerbell was the thing to just like, oh yeah, fairies are tiny. Are tiny folk. Yes, please. Alright, I'll try to remember to send you that.
But they are certainly my culprit. I always thought that fairies meant Tinkerbell. I always thought that fairies meant tiny human-shaped beings with wings. But no, it's a wider world than that. Fairies is a blanket term to describe the inner gears of nature that have kept the thing going for hundreds of thousands of years. In a weird way, fairies have still interacted in the world of man despite not having concrete evidence of their existence through either politics or through pagan beliefs or anything like that, but they've captured the imagination, and they're going to continue doing that.
Hi, Haru. How are you doing?
For better or worse. Gather around. And they're going to continue to, or anything like that, but they've captured the imagination, and they're going to continue doing that. For better or worse.
Yeah, so let's see. We got more of that image I talked about before with the hurt wing. Yeah. Some of these are AI, but you know, it is what it is. I see Ramirez right here. I like Ramirez. She's a fun character. Hey, there's you again. Ramirez, my beloved. Yeah, we like to portray ourselves as tiny winged humans. Yeah, because being a tiny winged human is fun. Oh, hey, my two favorite fairies on screen. Fairies with my... Listen, Haru, if you want to fly, you just let me pick you up and we can go fly together. Well, that's kind of the same, right? What happened to the... I'm an idiot. I am such an idiot. I forgot to turn on the desktop. God damn it, Dooney. I imagine that's been like that for a while. And I just now noticed that. I'm so sorry.